Hey everyone, Jonathan here. I just wanted to let you know before we started today that you can visit our new website at thelatetrainpodcast.wixsite.com/thelatetrain. The link for that will also be in the show notes if you want to check it out. It's got links to our new social media pages. We would love it if you could follow us and check out what we're doing on there. All right, without further ado, on to the episode.
Also, we can't say, let's start a running joke. That's not how running jokes go.
I mean, I feel like
just edit it out, dude.
Yeah, it'll just say, let's start a running joke, and then
that is our running joke.
We cut off
is that we say, let's start a running joke, and then they're all jokes that don't come back.
That would be, that's a good episode opener.
Hello, my name is Michael Palmer.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Ibanez.
And welcome to the Late Train Podcast. This movie that we're doing is a little weirder than usual, which is saying something. So we decided we needed a little extra help. So we want to welcome to the show
Morgan Hutchison.
Inakhshmi Rashid.
And as always, we have our producer here,
Elizabeth Priest.
Yeah, I'm here.
Alright, we weren't sure.
Well, how's everyone been?
Good.
Fine.
Yeah,
Great.
doing alright.
All right, good.
I was on hiatus for a while.
You
For
were.
a whole episode.
Did you enjoy your hiatus?
It was fantastic.
Good. I appreciate it. You should take more of them. Real quick, because we got some new people on. How about each of the new people say a fun fact about yourself, so the viewers can remember you.
Can we have a boring fact? Everyone does fun facts.
Okay, we can
That's
do
it.
a
Let's
boring
do a
fact.
boring fact, okay.
Yeah, I was born and raised in Salt Lake.
Which is where we still are.
Where we
for
still
context.
are.
It's not like we're like filming this in Honolulu.
Yeah, I never left. We're still here. That is my boring
Now
fact.
now our stalkers can find us.
Okay,
Hey, what's your
go
boring fact,
ahead.
Morgan?
Oh, I drive a 2005.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah.
the year.
Just
Drive
the
The
year.
year
around.
2005.
Just the year.
that was
Okay.
a good year.
That was
That's
a
a
good
pretty
year.
fun fact.
Yeah.
Pretty stable year.
Is there a lot of maintenance you have to do on that, or is it?
Well, you know, I can't really change much of it, so I just have to
Yeah.
kind of live with what happens.
That's fair. Yeah, history, you know.
That's a good
Yeah.
point.
It is doomed to repeat itself though. So
That's
like,
fair.
is
It'll
the
come
model
back.
gonna come back?
Yeah, it's gonna come right back.
That was the Bush administration, right? Good times.
Yeah.
It was like still pretty fresh.
We love
9/11 was
political-
still pretty
we
fresh.
love
Yeah,
political
it's a-
commentary on our joke movie podcast.
Okay, I'm sorry, Michael. I apologize for bringing that up.
So yes, today we watched Catch 22.
Sure, catch 22. Let me see if I got this straight. In order to be grounded, I've got to be crazy. And I must be crazy to keep flying. But if I ask to be grounded, that means I'm not crazy anymore and I have to keep flying.
You've got it. That's catch 22.
Woo!
That's some catch on catch 22.
So yeah, this is Catch 22, starring Alan Arkin, directed by Mike Nichols. It came out on June 27th.
Who also directed the much more
21st.
successful The Graduate. I feel like it's something
Oh,
that we
yeah.
should say before
Yeah.
we talk about this one.
Yeah.
And he did this after The Graduate. So,
Yes.
yes.
This was post his fame, right?
Mhm.
And did anyone know anything about this movie going into it?
Absolutely not.
Nothing.
No, my parents talked about it, but
Okay.
I've never watched it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So what I knew about it, I read the book my sophomore year of high school.
Okay.
And I kind of hated it, but I think, I look back on it, and I think it's just because I hated it because I had to read it, and I was on a deadline, you know? It was one of those
That's fair,
ones.
yeah.
So I knew, I knew about the first half of the book, and I read about the second half on SparkNotes, so I didn't really remember it. So I was still going in relatively fresh, but I kind of knew some things to
Right.
expect, right? And I'm going to do my best to not mention the book a ton, because I know we're reviewing the movie, not the book.
And none of us know what happened in the book.
That's
Exactly,
true.
yeah.
We are not nerds.
I have fun facts about the book. Because I'm a nerd.
We can do fun facts about the book.
Continue.
All right, no, it's
finish
fine.
your synopsis.
Are there any fun facts about the book that would be appropriate to share at the outset?
I don't know about at the outset. I just could just finish
Okay,
whatever you were
sounds
saying,
good.
and I'll bring it up when it's
No.
appropriate.
That's
It might not exist.
I'll make it.
And in case anyone is wondering, this film had a budget of $18 million, and it made $24 million. So it was not super successful, but they made their money back in a little bit. So
Made a profit.
yeah.
I'd take a $6 million profit.
Right?
Like,
Yeah.
That's true. That's 33%.
Yeah, that's not a bad
More than
ROI.
you started with. at
Pretty
least.
good.
Yeah.
Okay, so the movie starts,
Savings account.
Yeah.
and it's really interesting because the opening credits, there's no music or anything during the opening credits.
Yeah, I thought
Right?
my phone was broken.
Yeah.
I honestly,
yeah.
I thought
The
it was
audio
broken.
is really, I like the
all
whole
over the
movie.
place.
I was like kind of searching for music.
Yeah.
Like, there's one very prominent scene where
There's a lot of music.
where there's a lot of
Yeah,
music,
yes.
but like the whole movie is mostly just like airplane sounds, like
it was weird.
generic. Yeah, and like the dialogue in the opening scene is like unintentional.
Yeah.
Like you cannot.
No, and that's one thing I really enjoyed. It was a very interesting choice
Mhm.
because you really, like, we had subtitles on, and I don't think we were really supposed to know what was being said
Yeah.
in that scene. But I was like, I don't know if the whole movie's going to be like this
Mhm.
or anything. It was really, really an interesting choice. So I think sound was used pretty
Yeah.
effectively.
Yeah.
And I remember at the beginning when we were watching this, because we all watched it, well, everyone except Morgan watched it together.
Even though he picked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's, fitting. But I remember as the opening credits go on, everyone is just surprised by who is in this movie.
Mhm.
Like, Michael goes, wait, Martin Sheen is in this?
No, I was
and then he
excited-
goes, wait,
I
John
was
Voight's
excited
in
about
that?
Martin
Oh, shoot.
Sheen.
I was excited about Bob Newhart.
Bob Newhart is in it.
Yeah.
Someone was
And
excited about
then-
John Voight?
Yeah, John Voight, and then I didn't realize while we were watching it, but Anthony Perkins, Psycho, is in the movie, and I don't know why I didn't notice that until
Oh,
later. Yeah, and Anthony Perkins worked with Martin Balsam, who was the detective in
Mhm.
Psycho. Like, it's just a really cool, like, for
Connection
the time,
there.
yeah, like a really star-studded cast.
Interesting.
Which I like. You brought up the box office, so just to give context, MASH made $81 million.
Because MASH was significantly.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll get to that.
Well, because MASH spawned off. I don't know
MASH
anything about
makes
it,
sense.
but I know my
Yeah.
mom
Yeah.
loves the TV show.
Yeah.
So
I love the TV show.
Oh, okay. Good.
Absolutely adore
You should
that
talk to
show.
my mom about it sometime.
I would love to.
I'll-
I love MASH.
I'll have
It's
your
a
people
great
get in
show.
touch with her.
All right,
And yeah,
you do
I
that.
only bring up MASH because I think they're quite similar in themes. But comparatively, this movie didn't do well commercially or critically.
I would say
No.
the MASH movie
Yeah.
is far more homophobic.
MASH was
Yeah.
Yes.
MASH was Bug's Life, and Catch-22 was Ants.
Yeah.
That's an
what I'm
interesting
hearing.
comparison.
Yeah,
I have not heard Bug's Life or Ants be referred to in many years, but it makes sense.
Bug's Life is actually a pretty good movie.
It's a
like,
pretty good
oh,
movie.
yeah.
I watched it the other day. It's about like colonialism
Yeah,
and
it's
imperialism and stuff.
colonization,
Yeah,
absolutely. And Ants is about ants.
definitely. Wasn't there another Ant movie that came out
I
after
don't
that,
know.
like Ant Bully or
Oh,
something?
Ant Bully.
You're right!
Yeah.
We're like unearthing
Yeah.
memories I haven't thought about.
I do not remember that movie.
I don't remember what the difference between Ants and Ants Bully.
No,
is.
I don't know any like plot or anything. I just
I'm
know
pretty sure
of
Ant
the
Bully
I don't
is
even-
the one where the kid is like spraying the ants with water, and so they come up and they like drop a potion in his ear and he shrinks to the size of an ant.
Wait, what?
Yes, they're
It's
literally-
like an Ant-Man
Is
kind of thing?
Is that one of the sequels to Honey, I Shrunk the Kids?
No, I wish it were.
No,
It
no.
would make more sense that way.
Oh my god,
It's like-
how do you remember?
Yeah, wait, how do you have so many details about Ant Bully in your brain?
I watched it.
How did you do on your last
5
math
times a day.
exam?
5 times a day.
Well, you know
5
how
times a
everyone
day when I
has
was
that
like 8.
when they're little kids. Everyone has that movie you just watch over and over.
yeah,
Right,
there's
like
usually
Ant
not
Bully?
something like
No, mine
Ant
is Cars.
Bully.
Mine was Incredibles.
Mine,
Okay.
okay,
Mine
that's
was
great.
Shrek.
Good. I
Also,
like
yeah.
that. Mine was
That's
Toy
alright.
Story.
Toy Story is
Hey,
really
all right.
good.
All of these are
Acceptable
Coherent.
answers except
Acceptable.
for
Ant
Ant
Bully.
Kids,
It's
if
an
you
outlier.
watched Ant Bully 5 times a day when you were a kid, you are now a
We don't
psychopath.
want you to be a listener to this
I don't know if
podcast.
Morgan should
I know
stay
we're not
here.
big enough that we should be limiting our audience, but if you were a big Ant Bully fan,
Please
Get
turn
out.
it off.
If
So
anyone,
I'm not
okay, here's the
listening
thing.
to the podcast. I'm on the podcast.
If
That
anybody-
makes a difference, right?
Yeah, okay.
sure.
Yeah.
If anybody
Alright,
wants
fair.
to write in about why we are giving Ant Bully too much crap, write in. We will read the essay.
I would
on
also
the
like to
episode.
say if anybody
Yeah.
wants to write in,
Please do.
Yes.
Please write in.
The late train podcast.gmail. I put the thing at the end of
Is
the
it
last episode.
at
So
Gmail or dot.
At
gmail.com.
Everyone
Dot
understood.
Dot
what you were
Gmail.
saying.
Dot Gmail at gmail.com.
at latetrain.podcast/late train.
Yes.
The one
Slash.
person who was gonna write in is so
Completely lost.
Some guy in Nigeria is gonna get an essay
Yeah.
about Ant Bully, and he's gonna be like, "What is this?"
All right.
Okay.
So Catch 22.
Back to the.
All right.
Circle back here.
So
Yeah.
basically, we start out and we see our main character, our boy Yossarian. He is talking with his superiors, and we're not really sure what he's talking about. And he walks down from this little platform that they're standing on to watch the mission, and then he gets stabbed. And immediately he has a flashback, which is kind of funny.
About him being the person he's supposed to be supporting.
He's the bombardier, yeah. And there's like an awkward kind of conversation that's going on between them,
Yes.
which kind of I feel like sets the tone for the humor of this movie.
In that it is drier than the Dust Bowl.
And
Yes.
very subtle.
Yes.
What's that? I don't get you.
Help him.
What?
Help him. Help him.
Help who?
Help the bombardier.
I'm the bombardier. I'm all right.
Then help him. Help him.
Yes.
Yes.
I think like the first time, especially when I was watching it at first, like the first half of the movie was like unbearable because I had no idea who was who and where were we in
Exactly.
terms of time.
You
and,
figured out
I
who
was
who.
lost.
I never did. There were like 3 characters that I was sure were dead.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And yet either they were standing at someone else's funeral or they just were like hanging out.
Or their
Yeah.
own funeral, because
Or
that
their-
basically
yeah.
happens at one point
Right.
in the movie.
Yeah.
So I would like to
Such
add
a
something, like sort of a fun piece of trivia. So Stanley Kubrick was shown this movie before release by Mike Nichols. And he said about it was, we're going to have to edit this because I lost the spot that I was talking about.
I never edit this part out.
That's probably going to happen because I like completely have lost my notes.
Let's just really prolong this moment.
Can we not?
Michael,
This
did
is a
not
very
find
long
quote.
article and I still haven't found it.
Announcement: Michael could not find the research he did before. This
We're
is not a
telling-
drill. He probably watched Ampley one too many times.
found
as
it.
a
Still
kid.
scrolling.
I
Okay,
found
you
it.
found it.
All right, so okay, I'm just gonna redo this. So Kubrick showed nerd. I didn't say
Nichols
what my
showed
curse words.
Kubrick.
Nichols showed Kubrick this before it was released, and Kubrick had some things that he wanted to say, and he had questions like where and when they are, what's happening, and who's in the narrative.
So basically, all of the questions you were told to
All
answer
the 5
in screenwriting class.
W's were basically Kubrick was like, yes, some people might have problems with the fact that none of these things are intelligible.
Okay, but he doesn't get to talk.
The funniest part is like, that is a very serious filmmaker. Like,
Yeah.
famous for never making jokes at all.
Yeah.
Who just eviscerated one of the, like, comedy great directors.
And you know he was fully serious about it too.
Yeah.
For sure.
Like, he's not
Which
kidding around.
had to crush
Oh,
Nichols,
yeah.
right?
Well, I
Yeah.
wanted to add to that. So I was listening, like Nichols did commentary with Steven Soderbergh on the movie. Like they watched it together.
On Catch 22?
Yeah, on Catch 22.
Okay.
And yes, no, on The Graduate. And I'm just doing this random.
I don't know, maybe it's on Ocean's 11. Like,
Oh,
LOL, you're just so random.
Let's talk about Ant Bully.
They're actually
Ant
watching
Bully.
Ant Bully. Yeah.
If we end up cutting any of the Ant Bully bit, it's gonna be like the most confusing, suddenly recurring
Yeah.
joke.
That's what we're gonna do for our first premium episode. We're gonna review
Ant Bully.
Ampley.
Oh God.
One person pays for it. It's the director of Ant Bully, Steven Soderbergh.
Anyways, back
your
to
fun fact.
my legitimate fact.
All right.
Nichols mentioned how like one of his he really loved making this movie, but one of his biggest regrets is making it too confusing, because like him and the screenplay writer Buck Henry, they like purposely like the book itself is really confusing,
Yeah.
and they talked about how they tried to make it sort of chronological, but they still wanted elements of like having it kind of be.
I will also say everyone in the room nodded, and none of us have read the book except for Jonathan. So we're all like, yeah, the book's confusing.
You're all a-holes.
To be fair, I haven't read it either. I just I just did research, but either way, he said that like they wanted it confusing, but he like really regrets because he feels like the audience didn't understand it and like didn't understand the point he was trying to come across. So I'm sure Kubrick.
Did he happen to say what the point was that he was trying to come?
Because I certainly did not pick it up.
You want to talk about
So I can talk about this because I came to this realization while I was listening to the audiobook for the book a couple months ago. And I'm going to give you some background. It's going to sound like it doesn't connect. But I went on a Mormon mission, right? And the thing is that over those 2 years, you meet a lot of people. Over these 2 years, there's a lot of experiences that I had that all kind of like tend to blend together, and there's all these people I met, because I met this, it was sort of the same group of probably 100, 150 of us, and there was a rotating, rotating cast of people in these stories from my mission, right? So it's like, oh, this guy did this, and when I start to tell one story, I think of another story of where this guy did another thing a year before that, and then maybe there's another guy who did it a year after that. And so it's kind of like all these stories, it's almost like they all point to each other, and when I tell one of them, all the other ones come to my head. And so I'm guessing that that's somewhat of what the military is like, in that you're stationed with this group of people for a while, and then all the stories just kind of connect, and they lose the chronology.
I guess that makes sense.
Yossarian's thing is that he wants to be grounded. And that's when I realized first that when when your parents ground you, it's a reference to the military being grounded from airplanes.
Exactly, yeah.
So he wants to be grounded because their major, their lieutenant, I have no freaking clue.
But he was a doctor.
He was the doctor.
The doctor is grounding him.
Well, he
He's
wants the doctor
non-grounded.
to ground him.
Yeah.
His superiors is always raising the mission count that they need before they can go home or they get rotated out, or I don't know exactly how that works.
So, I guess this is a good time to say what Catch-22 is and what it means. So, Catch-22 means, as an airman, you want to be grounded so you don't fly anymore. So, you can only be grounded if you're crazy. But if you ask to be grounded, that proves that you're sane.
You're not
and so
crazy.
You're not crazy, so they can't ground
I would
you.
say I spent 20 minutes trying to find why it is 22.
I have an answer.
You have an answer?
You have an
Okay,
answer?
let's find it.
Okay,
Yeah. Now,
so
I want to know.
it's not a satisfying answer.
No.
Wait, I don't know if I want to hear this.
He said because it sounds good.
Nice.
That's fair.
22 is just a nice sounding number, and he just had to pick something. And apparently, he was gonna choose 18, but 18, another book was being released that had 18 in it. So he was like, okay, I guess 22.
This is
That's
the
the genuine-
worst possible
I'm
answer.
so sorry.
Oh my
I
God.
had the same question. That's
I guess Catch 11 doesn't roll off the tongue.
No,
as
it
well.
doesn't.
Yeah,
And
but if you think about it, it fits the whole theme of
I
the
thought
book,
it was
right?
really
Like,
good.
there's
Yeah,
no
that's
point.
true, there's
It's
no
just
point.
like you.
I thought it was
something.
related to blackjack, 21 and then 22
Yeah.
new bus,
Yeah.
which he should just
yeah.
posthumously say is the reason he did it. At this point, because I like that answer better, and it's now my headcanon.
Then, one of the coolest characters in this whole movie shows up, my boy Milo.
Oh yeah.
Milo shows up and he says, General, I know how we're going to win this war.
And he holds up an egg.
And he holds up an egg. And just to state this was a really cool shot. And this movie is full of really cool cinematography.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Which is
yeah.
really surprising.
Yes.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That's the point.
So this
It's
egg
beautiful.
is just huge in the screen, and
Yeah.
it's as big as the general or whatever it is. And it's like, well, we audibly said, whoa.
Yeah,
Like-
it shocks
true.
you.
And, sorry, did you have something?
Well, no,
else to say?
continue.
So Milo goes, I want to give, because he's in charge of the kitchen, and he goes, I want to give our soldiers the best nutrition, we're going to get them eggs. How are we going to afford to get eggs out here, Milo? Well, that's the thing. We can do this trade with some of our supplies to this dealer I have, and we can buy the eggs in bulk for 5 cents an egg.
And oranges from Marrakesh.
And
Pecans and 10,000 gallons of olive oil.
All
And they're
up.
trading their blankets away.
yes, because
Yeah.
Milo
Not
uses
just
their
blankets.
parachutes.
Parachute.
Yossarian
And their parachutes. Well, eventually he trades away all of their gear.
Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. If I could take one of the planes this afternoon, I'd like to get this material over to Alexandria. There's a huge cotton crop this year.
Cotton?
Yes, sir. Cotton is a particularly liquid commodity.
How much?
We'll trade for it, sir.
With what?
Silk. 4,000 yards of silk.
How in the world did you get hold of so much silk?
Where the hell's my parachute?
So the egg scene, they're talking about eggs, and like we said, the egg was forefront, huge part, right? In the background, a plane crashes.
Oh, yeah!
And they're just talking. They're talking about oranges from Marrakesh.
full explosion.
And there's fire!
Yeah, right in front of them.
And
They
they're
don't
parked
even
right
look.
next to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
They
crashing down
don't
the
stop
runway.
talking. That's
don't even
why
acknowledge
the
it.
more I think about this movie, the more I like it because
Yes.
it's so
So subtle.
so cool. Yeah. But continue.
Well,
Yeah,
and I
just
think
wanted
it
to
goes.
point that out.
It goes to how crazy this movie gets.
Yeah.
That we forgot that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just want to. The way I see this
Just to be
movie.
clear, this is when the movie still makes sense.
Yes.
This
Yes.
is not even 5 minutes.
When I. Here's how I think about this movie. I saw this movie just like keeps raising the level of what the shit is going on. It's like a ratchet effect, right? Where it's like, okay, you're at some level of craziness, and then something happens, and it like jumps up a level,
Yeah.
and then it stays at that level, and then in 10 minutes something new happens,
But at the same time,
and it
like,
goes up another level.
I think part of what makes that incredible is like as you go through the movie, that the stakes build up, but then but it's all very kind of joking.
Yes.
And then it kind of like punches you in the gut. with
Yeah.
Way more serious.
Way deeper. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, the stakes keep raising, but then there really isn't ever like a conclusion. Like
There's never the stakes that you'd expect of war.
Yeah. Like these things happen, but everyone in the movie like cares so little about these horrific things that they're showing. But it's just like that's like the least of their concerns.
Yeah,
People
like
are dying and they're just like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the eggs, we have to still have 2 cents profit per egg.
they could trade with Egypt. We could have the
Yeah.
best cotton in the world.
Cotton.
Oh my god.
He ends
The
up
cotton.
buying so much cotton that he's trying to put it into the food because
Yeah,
he's got to
chocolate
get rid of it
covered
somehow. Another surprise cast member of this movie is Art freaking Garfunkel as Ronnie Garfunkel.
You
did it?
After.
Totally,
Yeah.
didn't make sense to me at all. Like,
Yeah.
He
So
did
I
pretty
was
good.
He did
so
good.
lost
He
with
blended in. I didn't because I didn't
Yeah.
realize it was a singer or like not an actor. I just thought it was.
Well, it's because like all of them are like playing these characters that are not really like normal acting roles. Like,
I
Yeah.
think it was a really easy movie to act in because you just walk around looking confused.
Which
Yeah.
like I feel like
That's
if you
about all
don't
you have
act,
to do.
it would almost make it easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think there definitely is some like choices.
Oh,
to
for
appreciate,
sure.
for
Like
I
you
think
know how little
Yossarian-
clothing you
Well, I
want
mean,
to
you think of
wear.
how anti-war Garfunkel was, you know? I feel like it's a perfect casting, really,
Yeah.
when you think
Yeah.
about it.
Oh yeah.
And like what you mentioned, how all you have to do is act like you're clueless. So Jack Gilford, the guy who plays Doc, he said in an interview later that he had no idea what the movie was about and what he was saying. And again, it's like perfect.
I will
That's
say,
kind of what you need.
Nichols is famous for that because Nichols is one of the like founders of improv. Like,
Yeah.
you know, period.
Yeah.
And Nichols and Elaine May, who actually was an uncredited editor for a lot of these movies,
Mhm.
including The Graduate, I believe.
Hmm.
But don't quote me on that, except quote me on it.
Except this is recorded
Except
for
this is
posterity.
recorded for posterity. But like famously would let actors improvise and then keep it. Like so much The Graduate, and I believe a fair chunk of this movie, like there's not a script, not for real.
I honestly feel like there might have been a script, but they were probably handed the script and said, read these out loud and just ignore everything weird that happens around you.
Yeah.
Just read
Yeah,
this and
that's
act
fair.
along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it kind of like goes, it, like they
Yeah.
like kind of go off the rails on purpose. It's
Yeah.
part of his style, I guess.
Yeah,
you
I
could
know.
call
I feel
it.
like
I
it
think
was
it
a
makes
very
sense.
defined. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot
It
of
was
this movie is
definitely
crazy, but I feel
purposeful.
like when you look at it, it does make sense.
Mm-hmm. I just think it takes like a second viewing.
I think it takes
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
drugs.
Well, I definitely...
Fair point, Michael.
Disclaimer, this is not an advertisement for drugs.
No.
Don't do drugs,
I watched
kids.
it
Winners don't do
sober.
drugs.
I watched it
But the
sober.
losers do
We
as
all
many as they
watched
want.
it sober, I think.
Yes.
Maybe not Elizabeth. Just kidding.
I hope so. Didn't she drive you?
Yeah, she did drive me.
Hey, it's
Okay, so
So
Elizabeth
the-
was sober.
The reason I bring up Art Garfunkel is because this is a character that has relevance to the plot. His name is Natalie.
Mhm.
And he's kind of a romantic. He ends up falling in love with this prostitute that they go on for their R&R trips to Italy.
who is not named. to my
No,
knowledge.
her name is literally Natalie's whore.
Yeah.
And she has
Yes.
a sister named Natalie's whore's sister.
And we mentioned how I don't think any of the women had names.
No.
That's
I
my
don't
No.
knowledge.
Yeah.
Even though, I guess it doesn't. You have to have names to pass the Bechdel test.
No, you also just. I don't think any of them talked about things.
No,
like
they
Did
talked
they
about
name-
they talked about a recipe. Two nurses did.
But I think men came in before the conversation ended.
Was it the general's wife or daughter? Did she have a name?
No, she
I don't
just
think she
was
did
like a
either,
hot lady.
It was not her wife. It was not.
Or
It was,
no.
it was his lover.
Oh,
That's-
also
yeah.
Orson Welles is in this movie.
Yeah.
As
Complete surprise, but
Which
yeah, he's a general.
loved him
Yeah,
in this.
he was
Oh, yeah.
awesome.
Like, did a really good job as that character.
Yeah.
To be fair, that character is just like a creepy old man,
That's
and
fair.
I think Orson Welles at that point sort of just fit that. So
Yeah,
it
he's a
wasn't.
creepy old man.
He was very
Wasn't a big
intimidating in the right way.
Senior citizen Kane.
Yeah.
Right?
That's a very solid joke. Okay, there is a scene where the one pilot that's never grounded because he should be, but he's too crazy to ask for it, likes to buzz lakes. And there's a guy who we never see before, and clearly never see after, called Hungry Joe,
Oh,
that is sitting in the lake,
dancing on the dock.
on a little like rock out
Yeah,
there that's
yeah.
just
No,
chilling.
it's like a
It's like a little
raft.
platform.
Oh, it's a
yeah,
raft.
It's like
Okay,
a
it's a
dock.
platform.
I
Okay,
think
so it's a
wood.
platform. Yeah,
It's like a
wooden
diving platform or something.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
out in the lake, and your boy,
He's just standing
crazy
there.
plane guy,
Or,
buzzes the lake. Or
It's not or.
It's not or. Or was
Sorry,
in the
Because
yeah.
Orr is his,
But not actually in the
his
plane.
roommate.
Yeah,
No, his
sorry, my
tent
bad.
mate.
Or
Or
was
is
sitting
not
in the ship.
actually in the plane, but is on the flight record as being in the plane because he doesn't want to fly, and the crazy guy whose name is
McWatt.
McWatt
Yeah.
writes him on his flight registry.
And
so
also
that's why they
writes
think Or is
so he gets
He's
Yeah.
a
like-
doctor too.
So,
So he's buzzing the
he's
lake.
buzzing the lake and just fully cuts in half Hungry Joe.
Yeah, Hungry Joe's just like paralyzed.
His entire
No context was
Yeah,
ever
nothing.
given
No,
to who
no.
Hungry Joe is,
And
why
And
he's
they're just
out in
standing
the
there
middle of
watching
it.
this, and they're like, well,
and they're
sucks.
They're
chill
just like,
about
oh
it.
look, there's Hungry
And
Joe.
then
And the great thing-
McWatt proceeds to fly directly into a mountain.
And it's just a
Whoa!
huge explosion. And the greatest part about this is usually when you have character deaths in a movie, like there are musical cues or
Yeah.
something changes about the shot. Nope, this was just a normal.
It was a steady cam.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
just, you see this explosion, and it just cuts back to the people on the shore.
And they're like,
just
oh no, and they
like,
they,
oh, the poor
they
doctor.
mourn the death of the two people standing there.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
not the guy that was actually in the plane.
And not
Yeah.
Hungry Joe.
And the Hungry Joe.
Hungry Joe. Who was
Hungry
he?
Joe is finally sated.
the doctor's standing right behind
Yeah.
them, and they're like, oh, the
Oh,
poor
the
doctor.
dog.
And they
he's like,
turn
"Guys, I'm
around.
right
They
here."
turn
They're
around.
like,
He doesn't
"Oh."
say anything, but they turn
They
around.
see him.
They turn around, and you think that, oh, they see him, they'll react. They don't.
Nothing.
The movie just proceeds to a funeral for a different character.
Yeah,
Snowden.
it's so many funerals.
It is Snowden's funeral, right?
Yes,
I think
yeah.
so. Which we have not mentioned Snowden before.
Well, yeah, it's
and
so
they currently
hard,
probably
yeah.
think it's Edward.
Yeah.
I keep thinking.
I'm saying it's
Yeah,
going to
that's
be
what I
easier
thought,
for
too.
us to talk about the flashback at the end.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
flashback do you even?
There's
There's
only
so many.
in reality. There's only really one flashback.
Isn't the whole movie a
I
flashback?
feel like, yeah, I feel like it's
Because
all jumbled.
it's like the cut and then the whole thing's a flashback.
Most of it's in chronological order.
Yeah. So they. I think there's only what other flashback?
Well, there's
just
like
the
there's
flashback.
3 or 4 times when he's trying to help the guy. that's
Yeah, they
dying.
showed that flashback over and over again, but I don't
Mhm.
think they show any other like.
I don't think there is
Although
another
doesn't the
flashback.
dialogue change?
They
It
do.
does
Well,
every
yeah,
time.
Oh, really?
it
Every
gets
single
more
time.
intense every time
Yeah,
they flash
yeah.
back.
And then eventually it's yeah.
Well, yeah.
yeah.
So Snowden is the guy in the plane, the bombardier.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's him.
Yeah.
So in near the beginning, there's that.
was Yossarian.
No,
Yossarian's
Yossarian's
the
the
bombardier, but Snowden
Is
was
another
his
bombardier.
comrade.
Yeah, there's the other bombardier in
Okay,
there.
Yeah.
got it.
So
Which,
they're
by the
in
way,
the-
what is a bombardier?
So
The
they're
guy
in the
that
bottom of
actually
the plane and they
releases-
drop the bomb.
Yeah.
That's literally okay.
Yeah.
So
it's just what
They
it
are the
says.
bomb buddier.
So
So-
while Yossarian is complaining about people shooting at him, he is dropping bombs
On those people. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
So
He is
they're in the flight.
Actually dropping bombs on the ocean.
That's true.
Which
Because there's this one scene where they drop all their bombs too early, but they drop them
On
very
purpose.
well.
On purpose.
On purpose, yes. They
Because
drop
they don't
them-
want to bomb this random town.
They
Yeah.
drop. Well, that's
They don't know.
Yossarian.
There's-
He drops first,
And then
then
everyone
everybody just
arrives
follows
in
suit.
formation, so
They
they
all-
are awarded.
so the photographs are
yes, they
Yes.
get very good photos.
yeah, and then they all get medals.
Like,
Yeah, they all get awarded for
and
it.
Yossarian, for no reason, ends up butt naked as
No,
a
it's
sailor.
not for no
laundry.
reason, because there's no one doing the laundry.
That's
because
right.
of
That's
the
right. That's the
information.
laundry show. Yeah. So there's
God,
nobody doing laundry.
our plot recap is so all over the place, but it's because
so is
that's
the
how the
movie.
Yeah,
is.
that's the only reason
We
I'm
thought
not worried
bringing
about
two
this.
other
Yeah.
people would help us, and it hurt so much.
Alright, so-
Genuinely, the scenes could all be interchangeable in terms of order.
And it would
Honestly,
make
and you
potentially more sense.
possibly, yeah.
Do you want to go to Italy now? I mean, not
Yeah,
the real,
so
not
Italy
that
has
coronavirus.
Of course, yeah.
another one of my favorite characters. They meet this old guy in this bar, and they're having this whole conversation about the philosophy of war. And he goes, "We will win at the end because we are going to succeed." And Yossarian's like, "Well, it looks like you're doing a really good job succeeding now." And he says, "We will succeed at being defeated." And I just lost it.
But also, it's great because he was like saying that the reason why they had to be defeated is because like Rome and Spain and all those empires collapsed. But like
And they're
Rome
still
is
there.
Italy,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they're in Italy.
He says Italy will be different. And it's like, no,
And it's
you've
like-
done this before.
Yeah, like, you tried it. It didn't work for you the first time, and then Spain is still a thing. Like it's not like Spain disappeared.
Yeah.
Yeah, his whole philosophy was that like all these giant like
But he didn't
Empires
name
collapsed.
any of the ones that collapsed. He didn't name Mayan or
No,
Phoenician
absolutely.
or like
Like
Greek.
that.
He named
He
arguably
named
very
the
successful
ones that worked.
Yeah.
Well, and that's very, I think that's very, again, going with the theme, is because the history doesn't matter.
History doesn't
It
matter. Context
doesn't
doesn't
matter.
matter. They just
It's just shooting at each other
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
whatever reason, you
Yeah.
know?
yeah.
And getting bombed for whatever reason, and this stuff just happens to you, and you just take it in stride, like this Italian man.
So meanwhile, Milo is building an empire.
Yes.
Yeah.
of his own, yeah.
And he's like, I don't care who wins the war. I'm gonna come out victorious.
Because
He's gonna
he
come
has
out
traded all of their eggs for apples, which are just all over this movie. Like, there's apples in one of the planes.
There's
just
so
down
much
there.
fruit. There's
It's just
so much
fruit.
another
everywhere.
visual gag. And he ends up trading them for, like, ancient Greek statues at one point.
And he's going around signing them all and numbering them.
Yeah, exactly. And so he's saying we're
completely
making...
depreciating any
Yeah.
value they have.
He's saying we sold the
He's
parachutes,
power
but we've
washing
made
it.
so much value. But his one thing that he still has to do is somehow sell off
tons of cotton or
all
something
Yeah.
like that.
cotton because no one wants to buy the cotton. The
Yeah.
best part is that Milo's Corporation's logo, as the movie goes on, gets on more and more of their Jeeps,
Yeah.
their airplanes. It's
Yeah.
all
And also
Milo
looks
marked.
more and more fascist.
Yes.
Yeah.
By the end of the movie, Milo is on a truck, basically Hitler style,
Yeah.
driving through the masses.
Yeah.
And it's like, holy cow.
Also, the building.
And he slapped, like, Yossarian tries to grab him, right? And his bodyguards just hit him.
I will also say that, like, the building that they're in towards the end, that is like the headquarters of Milo's Corporation,
Uh-huh.
seems very intentionally referential to like
It does.
what is it, the Strength of Nate,
Yeah,
the
what is it called?
the
Strength of
documentary,
Nations.
Triumph of the Will. The
yeah.
Triumph of the Will. It's like
Ah.
seems very intentionally reminiscent of it.
Yes, definitely.
And
So,
also, just another fun fact about, so it's called M&M Enterprises. So his name is Milo Minderbender, which is again.
Minderbender?
Wait,
yeah,
let me double
they mention
check.
it once. They mention it once in the movie.
Milo Minderbinder, my bad.
Oh, Minderbinder.
Minderbinder.
But she minds binders, I
Yeah.
guess. That's
But
a worse joke than yours. I'm sorry.
Apparently,
That's
so
fair.
it stands for his initials, but he puts the "and" just so it looks like more people are part of it, and it's not just him controlling the whole
Oh my
enterprise,
gosh.
which is just another little, I don't know.
I mean, that's a clever move.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is. And I
yeah.
mean,
Like
like,
one person
Hershey's
who's like,
wasn't
yeah,
around
right.
to sue him yet, or Mars.
It's what Florence plus the Machine did, right?
Yeah, basically.
So anyway, and another
No,
a
'cause
funny
Florence
part
had a
about
machine.
did she?
I think so.
I don't
Wait,
remember
what?
having a machine.
I mean, like, technically any instrument is a machine if you think about it.
That's
Marina and the Diamonds did it.
Oh my
Okay.
god.
Anyway,
Panic at the Disco. But
Panic
they
at
started as a band. Now it's just him.
now it's
Is it
just Brendan
him? I didn't
Urie.
even know that.
Yeah, it's kind of sad, but that's I could do a whole other podcast on Panic at the Disco.
I'll
I love
join
it so
you.
much. Yes, let's do it. It's a premium episode.
Premium.
I will keep writing down our premium episode ideas.
It's, the
and we'll
list
get
is
around
now
to it.
8 times longer than our normal episodes. Which is not a great business model.
I'm not
So-
gonna lie, I probably wouldn't pay for any of these premium episodes.
I would pay for Aunt Billy.
I would pay for Aunt Billy. You're right.
One night, Yossarian goes with, I think, Orr and Nate Lee's there, and they're just chilling at the base at night, and Nate Lee passes out for some reason.
No,
Lee and
they-
Dobbs.
Nailing dogs. Why do they pass out?
Because
do you remember?
one of them wants to talk about getting grounded. They get into a fight, and he pushes him into a board.
That's right.
And he gets immediately unconscious. He's softly knocked into like a signpost,
Which
and then fully unconscious.
all of us thought he died. We were all like, I swear to God.
He's like, if he is dead because
Yeah.
of this stupid signpost.
Like-
Because that's something the movie would pull. Is
Being softly and then.
There were so many character deaths, I feel like.
there were.
I think there
That
were
was
more
so
character
good.
deaths than there were characters.
Yeah. They
Yeah.
were just random
Almost.
funerals.
Yes.
But he's with Martin Sheen and Nately.
Yes.
Garfunkel.
Martin Sheen and
Well, Nately passes out,
Nately passes out because he softly pushes him
softly
into a
pushed
billboard.
signpost.
and all of a sudden, boom! Explosion all over
We
the
just
place.
wrecked our audio
Yeah.
balance.
I'll fix it in post. So, all of these explosions, and they say, "Oh my God! Like they're attacking us. We're gonna die." And Yossarian takes out his pistol and starts shooting at the German airplanes.
No,
And
no,
Milo
he
goes,
doesn't even
"No."
know the
Yeah, it doesn't know
airplanes.
what kind of
He
plane
just
it is.
shoots at the
Yeah, he
plane.
just
Yeah,
shoots at the
they're
planes.
not German.
They're not.
Well, they are, but
Nuh-uh.
No,
they're
No,
that.
they're not German.
They're their
the
own
US
battalion.
oh, okay, yeah.
So-
So this is where I lost it in the movie was when their general goes, "Yossarian, stop shooting! Those are our men you're shooting at."
Yeah.
And Yossarian goes, "What the hell? Like, why are our own men?" And Milo shows up and says, "Look, well, we had to make a deal with the Germans. I
We
need to
would
get to the
bomb
cotton
our
off
own
our
base."
hands. We would bomb our own base,
Which
and the
would-
Germans
they
would buy
would
our
buy
cotton
all-
from
yeah.
us."
What they were doing is they were subcontracting the mission to bomb the base.
Yeah.
The Germans had a plan to bomb the base,
Uh-huh.
but in exchange for taking the cotton on, they would
Bomb
have
their
to
own.
bomb their own base instead.
Yeah.
And they didn't just like fake it. They
bombed
their
it.
own
No, they
No,
base.
and
they
Milo
kept saying,
was
like,
giving
avoid the
instructions.
storage.
Yeah, they're like, oh, go for the mess hall, direct hit.
Yeah. They're like, there's no men in there, it's fine.
Yeah.
And they blow up poor Garfunkel Nately.
Yep.
Uncle.
And this is where Yossarian ends up losing it even more.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Fully dream world.
Yeah.
And this is just where he loses it.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, because he's devastated because his
Oh,
friend
yeah.
is dead.
And he's
Yes.
gone through Snowden's death too.
And
And
Yes.
and
Yeah.
horror
And
and
Dobbs,
war and
I
death.
have no idea what happened to Martin Sheen. He
he
like
stopped being in the movie. I think he
Yeah.
probably had to go like start 2.5 Men or something.
2.5 Men.
That's
That's his
Charlie
son.
Sheen.
Yeah, that's fine. They're basically the
He had
same.
to go.
He had to go make Charlie Sheen so that Charlie
I was
Sheen
gonna
could
say
start
that, and then I
2.5
stopped
Men.
myself, Michael.
I mean, I'd rather do that than be in this.
I think that's subtle enough.
Makes more
It's
sense.
Still friendly, right?
As long as you say make,
Make. Okay.
like
you
it's
went
in a
and
factory.
made Charlie Sheen.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'd
like
rather
he
do
was, he like laughs
I
hysterically.
would say
like,
that Charlie.
saying
I would say
the
if Charlie Sheen is made in a factory, it was a defective factory.
Oh wait, Charlie Sheen.
Yeah.
I
Charlie,
thought you were
yeah.
insulting Martin.
No.
I was like,
I know
Martin's
that that's
a good
your
actor.
future husband. Even though I'm not even sure he's alive.
Martin Sheen's
I
alive.
don't know.
Rest in
Barely.
peace.
He's like, he gotta be at least 80.
he's definitely old.
So then Yossarian is depressed. He's walking through the streets of Italy, and he's seeing all these sort of tableaus. And this is one part of the movie that I really wanted to watch again, but didn't, because there's all this stuff happening.
Well, important part. So he's walking through Italy to go tell Nately's whore that
Mhm.
Nately died.
Yeah, so some of the things I remember, there's a guy literally beating a horse. There's a guy
beating a
beating
dead
up a
horse.
prostitute.
Yeah.
No,
Was
the
he
horse
dead? The
was
horse was
alive.
alive.
Oh, okay.
Probably beating it to death.
I thought the whole thing was like making fun of beating a dead horse.
Yeah, like beat a dead horse.
Ooh, 50-50 split. Mm.
It was
Alright.
definitely moving.
Get in
And
the
then-
comments.
And-
Right in.
Mom, can you please agree with me? Put it in the comments for me.
There's
Okay,
that
guys,
email
here you
address.
go. This is your time to come shine. Do you agree with Jonathan Anaki, where it's alive, or do you
Who
agree?
is?
It's
who
like
is- Who are you talking
Everybody, the audience.
You just write in to what is it? The late
to? The
train.
late train
Late
at
train
gmail.
dot
No, it's
Podcast
the Late
dot
Train
gmail.
Podcast at
The
gmail.com.
late train at
Podcast.
podcast.gmail.
This is such a derailed.
Yossarian, or
So
Yoss-
is the movie?
That's fair.
Yossarian
You've
is
said 13 times now.
Yos-
Yeah, I've been keeping track.
Guys, let Jonathan talk.
Yeah, I actually
Yossarian.
think it might be a
God.
Are you sure? It might be like
You
12 and a
have to
half.
wait till he talks again to say that.
Yossarian.
Jonathan, just say it. Just say it.
It just won't make sense in editing. Okay. Yossarian...
Okay, so Inaki, what do you think? How many times do you think it's been?
Alright, Jonathan. So Yossarian.
Yossarian is walking through the street, and a woman falls out right in front of him. And he looks up, goes into the apartment that she fell from, and it's one of his soldier colleagues that has pushed a prostitute out of the window and killed her. Arfi. Yes, I forgot his name. And Yossarian is saying, look, you can't just kill a woman. That was a person. You can't just kill a person. And the military police come. He thinks to arrest Arfi, but no, it's really to arrest Yossarian because he is, quote-unquote, deserted. Which I don't think he even has at this point.
Well, they said you're AWOL and Yossarian.
Yeah, because he was supposed to be flying a mission, and they just wanted
And by the way, Arfi's reasoning was, I raped her, so I have to kill her. And then he's like, well, she shouldn't be out. I don't even remember what he said.
It was something about, like, you killed her publicly.
Yeah.
Like, that was the biggest issue.
Yeah. Well, at this point in the movie, like, everything we were kind of laughing, like, the deaths were, like, crazy.
Yeah, and
at this point, we were all, like...
serious.
Yeah, this was a serious one.
And I don't know how the movie does that, but it does it really well.
Yeah, I mean, it, like, shifts tone.
I think it's, like, actually one of the
bounces.
only music cues is, like, there's, like, a very, like, I feel like there's, like, I remember feeling like there's some strings or something, like, kind of, like, sharpens this into this very dramatic moment that wasn't present for the other deaths, which I think is part of what makes them feel so part of their daily lives, is that it just doesn't even have any cues to it. And this one does. And I think that actually, like, genuinely makes the scene more powerful, is that they break their own patterns.
We've been seeing clips of this flashback throughout the movie, and it's getting farther and farther, but this is the one where we see the full flashback.
Basically, like, they're in the plane, but they've been shot at, and one of the soldiers is dying because he got shot. That's Snowden, right? I believe.
Yeah,
So Yossarian is, like, trying to comfort Snowden in his final moments. And what happens is, each time you see it, it is more gruesome, and there is more dramatic dialogue until this final time where it's over the top and completely out of control, and it stops making really any sense.
Because it starts out as a comedy scene. Like, it starts out, Yossarian is on the phone. This is, like, one of the first lines of dialogue you can hear in the movie. He says, he's talking to the guy on the radio, and he says, the guy's down, what do I do? And on the radio they say, help him, help the bombardier. And there's a pause. And he says, I'm the bombardier.
Yeah.
And it's
help
And
him.
we all giggled.
Yeah.
Because we didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, and it just seemed, like, silly, and then once you realize there's a second bombardier that is dying.
Yeah.
Like,
and even then, like, the first few times you watch the flashback, it's still not hitting.
Yeah.
But yeah, the final one, it really, they bump it up.
Yeah, the first time I saw the flashback at all, I thought it was actually Yossarian that got shot.
Yeah.
And I thought he was the one dying, and I was like, this makes no sense. And then it went back, and it was Snowden, and I was like, this makes even less sense. And then it progressively, I understood a lot better.
Yeah.
And it just got a lot more
like,
serious.
I would say, the entire movie shifts tone so well in terms of just going to this very dark place that, like, doesn't make it bad, it just makes it different.
Yeah.
But you could feel the energy change in the room.
Exactly, yeah. I feel like they really do, like, dark comedy throughout the movie really well. Like, and then to drive home the point, they're able to shift that tone really well. And
so
they go back to comedy after that. And
right, so I was going to say, like,
yeah.
we should transition to that, which is basically, like, Yossarian decides he's done, and he finds this little raft that has this tiny little paddle, and he takes it and just starts running towards the edge of the island, wearing not military clothes, because he says that no one will recognize him as long as he's not wearing his military
Which is probably true.
Yeah, as far as the movie's progressed, I feel like.
Yes, except he also sticks out because everyone else is in normal military clothes, so if he just worn a basic soldier's outfit, I feel like...
Well, I feel like I was making a joke because, like, throughout the whole
movie...
Oh,
it was definitely a joke.
It was just, like, soldiers, one after the other, would die.
And they're very interchangeable.
Yeah,
they're
like, super
the fact that we can't even, like, correlate who's who, really.
Yeah.
Well, while we were watching the whole movie, it was constantly, like, Elizabeth was half watching, and she was like, wait, who's that? And we'd go, he's Danby. No, that's Orr. No, wait, that's McWatt. Orr's the guy who did this. Oh, you're right.
You're glad I didn't say banana.
Oh, yeah.
And there it is.
Well, like the chaplain, I didn't know who the chaplain was for a solid, like,
Yeah, the
times that I
chaplain
saw him,
again.
and then I found him and figured it out.
And you realized you had seen him throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, I know who this guy is.
Yeah.
Like, I recognize
Which is
him.
kind of how life works, right?
And it's kind of like I kind of really liked the ending.
I loved the zoom out.
Oh, yeah.
It was
It was
beautiful.
fantastic. And
Like,
it
was
looked
hopeful.
good.
Oh, it was a very pretty.
There was
this
so
whole
much good
movie.
cinematography.
Yeah.
I
This
just-
whole movie is really pretty.
I want to give another special shout out to the cinematography. I wish I knew the name of the cinematographer.
That would be
Yeah,
nice.
that would
But-
be nice.
I could add that.
Yes, add it.
The
Because
name of the cinematographer is
David Watkin.
But there are just so many super cool shots, and I think like I don't know. Apparently, they only filmed at 2 and 3 p.m. because the cinematographer was so
it's like
specific
golden
about the
hour.
lighting.
But at noon.
Yeah.
It's like every Instagram girl, like except or every Visco girl, except it's an actual movie.
But I just like you
The
can
golden
see.
hour,
I feel like there's
2:30.
so
Yeah.
many shots you can see like how much care was put into every little
Absolutely.
thing.
Oh, yeah.
It's incredible how much care is put into like a movie where every character is supposed to not care.
All right, so if there's nothing else anyone wants to talk about, we'll do our rating of the movie. So how it works here at the Late Train, we have our actual late comers to the late train. So
Yeah, that's
you're
fair.
arguably more late train than the rest
They're
of us
like
here.
from the
Wait.
dining car, they've come up to the.
Yes, it's like Snowpiercer, where they slowly make
Move
their way
up,
to the
yes.
front of.
You are
So, you know the scene.
Snow and you are Piercer.
We're Jackie Chan fighting his way up the roof of a train.
Okay, is it racist to say that Jackie Chan was in Snowpiercer?
Is that?
I don't remember.
It
Because
is
it's
now.
it's a Korean
It is
film.
now.
I'm sorry, I
It's a
didn't.
Korean film.
Yeah, it was by
Snowpiercer's
Bond,
directed
by the
by-
guy who did Parasite.
You know that scene where the colonel gives everyone a thumbs up and you like it shoots and it's one take and it shows all of the people giving thumbs up and then Yossarian is flipping off. That's a really good scene and I think that's how we should do the rating.
You're actually not far off.
You know what? We're gonna add that. So here's how the rating works. Here's how it worked before.
Incredibly visual.
It's a thumbs up or a
This is
flip
how it worked before,
This is an
and
auditory
I'll explain
vibe.
how it'll work now. Okay. So each of your hands, you can do a thumbs up, a thumbs down, or no thumb.
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna add another rating. You can also do a flip off. Okay, so
Reserved for only the worst.
yeah. So that's so like a
worst.
thumb down would be a bad, and a flip off would be like this. I actively hate this movie.
Like I
But
had trouble
wanted to,
watching it.
I wanted to flip it off in honor of Yossarian.
Okay, you can do that.
You can
Instead
do
of a thumbs up
But
for
can it
this
be a
episode.
positive?
No, we don't want to hear it. Like
There's
until
no
we're doing
con-
it. We don't. Okay, we
Oh.
can't talk any more about the rating. Let's do it.
There's
I'm
no
sorry.
context.
You
okay.
first.
Wait, so
Ready?
instead
No,
of-
we all do it
Oh,
at
we
the
all
same
at the same
time.
time, then we just
Okay,
press.
ready?
All right.
1, 2, 3. Okay, so
right.
we have.
So we've got
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 thumbs up.
7 thumbs up, one flip off, one
One
thumbs
down,
down,
and one sideways.
sideways. I would like to say I have one up and one down because I am extremely conflicted.
Okay.
And I didn't want to give it just no thumbs because
Uh-huh.
that's like a neutral rating. It is that I have very positive opinions and I have very negative ones, and I
Huh.
think that makes more sense
Mhm.
in our very nonsensical rating
Are
system.
we
Yes.
allowed to discuss this at all? Or are we,
We
done?
can't.
Oh, why? Yeah, we can give why we give our ratings.
Okay.
So your flip off was in honor of Yossarian.
It was an honor. It's
Could you-
like
could
an
you use that-
extra, like a really high thumbs up.
It's a thumbs up, but it's taller than your thumb, so it's
Oh,
more
so
it's
positive.
plus.
All right.
And I gave it 2 thumbs up because I actually really liked this movie. I had a fun time watching it, and more than that, the next day I was thinking about it and I was like, "Wow, that was really good."
Mm-hmm.
And I think my opinion has even improved upon it just discussing it with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a
My
very good
opinion
film.
has improved upon it about discussing with you guys, but I feel like I got to keep the thumbs down just because like it took so much to even understand what was going on,
Yeah.
and like I don't know, like
I'll-
it's in my heart, you know what I mean?
No, I'll fully admit, I think a major flaw of the movie is it pushes it a bit too far,
Yeah.
I think.
But
It's,
again,
the confusing
so does the
aspect.
director, so it's not
Yeah,
a
so
problem.
like, yeah, but I feel like that's a legitimate criticism of the movie,
Yeah.
but I think I am so tired of movies like not making me think that it's
Yeah.
like so refreshing to like finally like I didn't expect it I think to be so like thought provoking and I really enjoyed that so
Yeah.
Right.
yeah.
I gave it 2 thumbs up because I really enjoyed it, and I like movies that make you think. So I didn't
Mm-hmm.
want something that was just going to be boring and regular old plot line that.
Oh, we haven't
everyone
seen
wins
any of those on this podcast.
Yeah, but yeah. So I gave it.
Charlie Brown.
I really liked how confusing it was. That was one of the things I really enjoyed about it. Because it did make me think and it brought me back. I was like, oh, this character did this, and this character did this, and this happened here. So I really had a fun time watching it.
I like that you started by saying, I'm sorry for making everyone watch this, and then you ended with a fully positive endorsement.
Totally.
I also want to say that you guys are making it sound like I hate to think when I'm like,
no, Michael.
I know.
You said that about yourself.
I'm kidding. But
for the record, I like to think about movies.
Yeah.
Michael just
Unlike
likes to watch.
Yes.
He just likes to watch ant bullying.
Look, you can argue that there are plenty of movies that make you think that aren't as convoluted.
Oh
as
yeah,
this.
yeah.
So I can totally understand because like Nichols and Kubrick, they both had the same criticism.
That's true.
You know, I'm not gonna, but I think overall.
Yeah, you're not gonna go off against Kubrick in this argument.
It's a fair criticism.
Overall, my experience with the movie was overwhelmingly positive in the end.
Yeah.
So that's why
I feel like it's one of those movies that you're gonna have a lot of people that really like it. You're gonna have a lot of people that really hate it.
Actually, just not a lot of people saw it.
Yeah, that's
yeah, and I think the reason people,
right.
I think so. I haven't fully watched MASH. I've watched clips of it, but
The movie is pretty mediocre.
Okay.
With
The
a
TV show's
strong dose of homophobia, and sexism.
Yeah. I think it's
TV show's
easier.
good.
I think it's easier for people to understand.
Yeah,
so I
it's
think
a lot
it had
simpler.
similar messages of
and it's a lot more
anti-sentiment.
straight humor.
Yeah, so I think that's why in general people were pretty not happy with watching war films because they were just sick of it. So I think they watched Catch-22 and they were like, I don't know what's going on, but I saw people die and stuff, so it's I didn't like it.
It's a bummer.
Yeah, it's just a bummer. But they go to watch MASH and it's more straightforward comedy. Despite its obvious flaws, apparently, but back in the day, so I think that's why MASH did so much better. Despite
that's
being
true.
So similar,
A little more palatable.
Yeah.
A little more palatable, yeah.
Okay.
So, I don't know.
All right.
Sweet.
No,
Oh.
I want to say my rating.
You didn't watch the movie.
No, but I listened to this whole thing.
So the 3 scenes that she saw.
the one.
Literally
Let her talk.
I watched probably 10 minutes of this entire movie.
And she heard us
And
ramble.
I listened to this entire podcast episode.
Uncut on it. The long run.
Literally, I gave it a no thumb and a thumbs up. And I literally hated the movie. The scenes that I did see, there was it was stupid, and then more stupid, and then nudity, and then death. And I was like, okay, great, this is
That's life.
Realistic.
More stupid, nudity, and death.
Okay.
What else do you
The
want?
4 stages of life.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was gonna give this 2 thumbs down. This is terrible, but y'all changed my mind.
Wow.
So
Look
just
at that.
by the way.
Considering how much of the movie was us making fun of it, it's incredible that the review is so positive as a result.
Yeah, I was expecting it to be a lot worse than it was.
Yeah.
I think
that's
talking about it definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Got it. Because once
Well,
you're
there's,
talking about it, you're understanding.
more I talk
Well,
about
there's
it,
more,
I
there's deeper
I
meanings
understand
than what
a
I
lot more.
thought.
Yeah.
I understand, maybe not the nudity part, but the stupidity part, yeah. The death part, yeah.
What
but,
about the more stupidity part?
The more stupidity part. Got
That's the thumbs
I don't know.
up
All I
medium.
know
I
is
got
that when I watched it, I saw a scene and someone just got cut in half, and I was so confused.
That's incredible.
That was
Let's give
Hungry
credit to
Joe.
Seth Allen for
And
the
then-
actor of Hungry Joe.
And then there was just blood. There was just weird amount of blood in the ocean. It was just weird. So I was
And there's a lot of blood.
Yeah.
The blood effects were done very well.
They were.
That's relatively impressive.
I could have a whole episode about where I talk about practical effects over CGI.
So here's the issue that I have with it, and this comes straight from someone else's podcast. I don't know who, or I shout them out. Is that the issue is that you only notice CGI when it's bad.
Exactly.
There's so much CGI that's really good and you just don't know.
But I will always.
No, you really don't.
But I will always say practical effects.
You can always say
possible.
that.
This is unrelated.
All right.
I concur. I concur.
I love good practical effects. I am just saying there's incredible CGI you don't know exists.
You're more
I don't
than-
hate CGI. I'm just saying I think it's overused, and when practical effects are
yeah,
available
but there was
to
a
use-
while where practical effects were overused.
Dude, I'd love to make a movie where you just drive a bulldozer through New York.
Yeah. Like, obviously,
You
that
know,
would be
take care.
great.
No, I'm saying,
I'll write it
saying
down.
CGI. Okay, this is not.
Script
We'll
is
just cut this
drives
part out, but I
bulldozers.
Well, I'll
want to talk about it.
just keep talking about it, and I'll
Yeah.
cut it when it
This
stops
is
being funny.
irrelevant. Yeah.
It's the Late Train Cast and Crew Corner.
This is our little cast and crew corner, okay, that we do every week here.
Which is like once a month and not every week.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe we'll get to every week.
Maybe.
Maybe.
So majority of the time.
So the person of the crew that I want to highlight is, one thing you might have noticed in the movie is how good the second unit directing was in it. Did anyone else notice that?
Yeah,
I know this fact. I was gonna bring it up.
Yeah?
Yeah, but continue.
Oh yeah, well, it's
It
funny
makes
how these things
sense,
work.
because there's the travel shots and there's all the like aerial views
Yeah.
and that kind of thing. Yeah.
All the second unit shots were very good.
Yeah, like the B-roll film was great.
Yeah, the guy's name was John Jordan.
Okay.
And he did a lot of different movies. He did work on Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Oh wow.
Okay.
He did work on You Only Live Twice, the James Bond
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
Movies, I think both that have a lot of really cool
Oh, yeah.
second
Yeah.
B-roll. Like this is kind of like a cool. This is interesting.
Yeah, and also both movies that were written by Ian Fleming, interestingly enough.
I had
Based on
forgotten
the book.
Chitty Chitty Bang
Yeah.
Bang was originally
Was James
based on
Bond?
Yeah.
Ian
So
Fleming.
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang is a James Bond car.
Chitty
Exactly.
Chitty Bang
That's what I'm
Bang.
hearing.
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang is 006.
Do they crash the car
Okay.
in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang?
Chitty Chitty
I
Bang
think
Bang
he
is
just flies away.
006.
It just
Okay.
went, yeah,
Right?
I don't think they crashed.
He's
I haven't
licensed to
seen it
crash.
forever.
Anyway, so he did a great job on this movie. Fun fact about him is that on You Only Live Twice, he actually sort of invented this kind of harness to use
Okay.
when they were getting aerial shots like of a plane.
Oh, to like up at it?
Yeah.
Or-
Unfortunately, on You Only Live Twice, his leg got chopped off by the choppy part, and he had his leg amputated.
The
John Jordan, yeah.
Talk about tone shifts.
Yeah, talk about tone shifts. And really, I would look forward to seeing more of his work later in our other episodes.
This is so much more wholesome than the one that we did the first week.
Yes,
This is the
it-
guy that never came back.
Except I said I would love to because he actually died in the making of Catch 22. He did not use his harness as he was told to,
to use it.
and he died.
He fell during one of the bombing scenes.
Oh wow.
And he died.
Welcome to our comedy podcast.
Thanks for that.
I don't know what to do about
I
that.
don't know either. I have that
so
fact written
I
down.
don't
I wasn't going to bring it up.
I don't want this in the podcast. It's
I mean-
so interesting, but I have no idea what to say.
I mean, poor
And-
guy.
That was our cast and crew corner. So, Jonathan's fun science fact of the month. Did you know that 80% of fish swim?
What?
And so do the other 20%.
Whoa.
I hate you.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for listening to The Late Train. If you liked the show, share it with your friends on Facebook, on social media. We would love to have new listeners. Also, if you feel so inclined, you can donate to our PayPal, which is thelatetrainpodcast@gmail.com. It's also our email for if you want to send fan mail, reactions, or even an essay about ant bully. If you'd like to watch along with us next week, we will be watching The Gods Must Be Crazy. Once again, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.